Excellent, thanks. Everybody, I'm glad you're here today. I applaud you for taking time out of your weekend to, look to become a better trader. It's good instead of just continuing to hammer away at things. It's like, yeah, you're actually looking to up your game, which is awesome. And I intend to make it worth your while. So let's go ahead and get rocking. Welcome to You've Been Lied To, Why Making Money Trading is So Hard and What to Do So You Can Finally Profit Without the Struggle. It's brought to you by Brian McAboy of Inside Out Trading. And okay, well, there we go. Okay, so agenda for today. It did change the subtitles a little bit. As far as our agenda today, part one is the huge lie. Why making money trading is so hard. Part two is really the 80-20 about trading, the 80% you've been focusing on and the 20% you've been missing that makes all the difference. And part three is the exact three-step process that fills that 20% and finally gets you to calm, confident, consistently profitable trading. And just a little visual here. So here's what we're looking at today. We got the big lie, the 80-20 of trading, and the three-step solution. Now, today, I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to do to get your trading working the way you wanted ever since you started trading. At the end, I have a special offer if you'd like my help to make it happen faster than if you do it all on your own, and we'll talk about that. But really, today, my goal is to open your eyes to a few of the lies and common misconceptions out there that have blocked your success and kept you stuck, to the truth about trading that will finally set you free, and most importantly, to show you the time-tested three-step process you need to use to get to where you want to be. It's the exact same process I borrowed from an industry outside of trading and used to turn my trading around after blowing up my account and losing over $47,000. This is the same process that allowed me to leave the corporate world behind and live life on my terms for the last 20 years, living where I want, moving if I felt like it, be closer to my grown kids who are always moving around, setting my own hours, taking vacation whenever I feel like it, so that I can be there for the things that matter most, like the birth of my first grandchild later this year, which is actually really cool, but also just generally living a pretty relaxed and comfortable life. This is also the same process that I've taught to over 3,000 other traders, numerous trading professionals, and even brokers. Now, before we get started, understand something. If you're here looking for some new clever strategy that will let you outsmart the markets, if you're looking for some new discipline hack or mental trick or other easy button, then this isn't for you and you might as well leave now. We're not going to be talking about the same old stuff that's in 99% of the other conversations floating around trading. If you can handle having some of your current beliefs challenged and you're ready for someone to finally be brutally honest with you, if you're sincere about not just making money with your trading, but making it work so that it truly becomes what you've wanted all along, allowing you to trade hours you want with the income you desire and trade from wherever you like, even traveling around the world, then you're in the right place. That's what we're talking about today. You're about to discover what you've been looking for all along. And no, this is not an exaggeration. This was a clip out of a coaching session, just a regular conversation that I had with one of my recent clients. I just wrapped up the training with him. As far as before we started working together, where were you? What were you wrestling with?
I wasn't getting anywhere. I'd win, I'd lose, I'd win, I'd lose. But I was confident.
And from a psychological standpoint, how's the impact been for you in going through this process?
It's amazing. It's astonishing how much. Like, I've joined a lot of groups and I've wasted a hell of a lot of money. But yeah, like I said, this is the one thing I was missing. This was it. That was the one thing I was missing. And it's true. It's amazing how easy you miss something like that. Just turns things around.
So seriously, what you're gonna learn today, again, it's not some new clever strategy, not some mental hack, some little cheat or strategy. This is how you make trading work. And the cool thing is, this is how you make trading work, trading with whatever strategy you want. You don't have to switch over to some new strategy or platform. And this is also, you're going to learn the real key to trading without having to rely on discipline or willpower or psychological hacks, because you'll be trading in a state of emotional calm, confidence, and peace of mind where your emotions just aren't a problem anymore. So now, one quick matter, and then let's get into it. I have to do this just because we're talking about trading. This presentation is for educational purposes only. It's not intended to induce anyone to initiate any investment or trade. Your trading results are entirely your responsibility. Now, I want you to promise me something, and really this is a promise to yourself as much as it is a promise to me. If you're here today, it's probably because you want your trading to be better than it is right now. If you're not happy with your trading, I sincerely do hope that I motivate you to take action on your own behalf. So promise me that you won't do nothing after what you learned today. So you can stop settling, for less than you deserve and desire. If what you've been doing hasn't been working, promise me that you'll take action for your own sake, whether it's getting help from me or someone else, but you'll do something. Fair enough? Okay, let's get into it. Again, we're talking about 3 parts here, 3 things, main topics, the big lie, the 80-20, and the 3-step solution. So part 1, the big lie. Now, when you understand this, you'll finally be able to move the needle in your trading. I got, over the years, I've tons of traders come to me and they're like, Brian, I'm tired of doing the trader shuffle, just, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and not really making any progress. This is really, again, this is something that will move the needle for you. And it is critical because if you don't get this part and you keep believing the lie, you likely will spend the rest of your life fighting the same problems with your trading. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Read any book on trading and they'll say it takes anywhere from 5 to 22 years to become a successful trader. And I've had plenty of traders over the years. Most of the traders that come to me for help have been at it on their own for 5, 8, 10, 12, 15 years. They've been wrestling with the same stuff. So let me open your eyes here and answer a few questions that have likely already been floating around in your head. I mean, one big one that I love. What is it about trading? How can it be something that looks so simple and be so freaking hard? And if you think about it, the failure rate here really just doesn't make sense. I mean, and this is common knowledge, only 2 to 5% of traders are making consistent profits comfortably. That means that 95 to 98% are not making it. Now, there's just something wrong here, especially when you consider, the caliber of people that become traders. This is not a group of losers or average Joes. Traders on the whole are above average. Most are professionals, engineers, project managers, owners of 6- and 7-figure small businesses, doctors, lawyers. This is a high-level group. And outside of trading, they're generally pretty darn successful people. So how can you have such a large group of above average people, successful in most everything else they do, fail here and struggle for so long? Now, one thing I hear quite regularly, comes when people come to me, they're like, Brian, I got a good strategy, and I just can't seem to do what I know I should do. It's just I keep screwing up. I can't seem to make any money. What I need to fix is me. Is me. So, and that's a kind of a logical thought. We're going to come back to this, but here's the thing: is it possible that there's something missing? Seriously. Okay. So the big lie, and here it is. I'll lay it out here for you. The big lie is that all you need to be successful here are strategy and focusing on your psychology. Hey, just find a good strategy, stay disciplined, and follow your rules. And that's all there is to it. Like it's really that simple. Now, I mean, it seems logical enough. Again, the whole thing seems very straightforward. But the thing is, the markets won't tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're missing. And this is the reason that it takes so long for most traders, because there is something missing and the markets aren't going to tell you what it is. It's just, hey, slap, take your money, slap, take your money, slap, take your money. The markets will just pound on you, but you don't get any feedback beyond losses. And that's one of the things that kind of sucks about trading, is because it doesn't lend itself to being figured out. And the thing is, there is something missing. Okay, that leads us to part 2. So what the 80-20 of trading, the 20% that you're missing that makes all the difference, and 80% that everybody focuses on. Now, here's how I discovered this missing piece, the 20% that matters most. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my background before I got into trading, I was a quality assurance manager. I'm a certified quality engineer. My degree was mechanical engineering, but I was working for a manufacturer where we're making plastic bottles for Coke and Pepsi, Gatorade, Aquafina, stuff like that. It's a high-speed, high-volume operation, razor-thin margins. I mean, they're hard customers, and consistency and good quality product are an absolute must. We had like zero margin for error. If we shut them down for a quality issue, they could bill us up to $25,000 an hour for the downtime. And so we had zero margin of error. And as the quality manager, it was my job to make sure that we got good quality, good consistent performance out of all our machines and all our people for 183 people across 7 different departments, across 4 different shifts, and over time. And it was my job to make sure that we got good, consistent performance. Now, the thing is, even with that said, it's like I started trading while I was still, in that corporate job, and I went through the first year where I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Managed to run my account up to $47,000, starting with 30. Thought I had it, wound up blowing up my account, ran it all the way down to $1,700, and obviously took a break after that. And while I was taking a break, I was talking with a friend of mine, and she said, Brian, at your job, you're the quality manager. You're the reason that plant is successful, because you get good performance out of everybody. And it's such a range of variables that you have to deal with, and you're good at it. Why don't you just take what you're doing at work and apply it to your trading? And I'm like, oh my God. And just so it's like, duh. And I did. And I took what all the quality assurance stuff that I had learned, and I applied it to my trading, and was able to turn things around. And like I said, I mean, that's what allowed me to eventually leave the corporate job and walk. And it was great because I didn't have to wait for anything. It's like, I knew I was solid as a trader. I could just walk out of here when I'm done. And the guy that I had been working for, loved working for him. He was a lot of fun to work for. I was doing good work that I enjoyed, but we got a new plant manager in, and I'm like, no, this ain't gonna work. And I turned in my 2 weeks notice, and I walked out the door, and I didn't have to think twice about it because I had my trading. And so it was awesome. Now, the thing is, shortly after that, I did start helping other traders, and I had a lot of people coming to me, and they're saying, Brian, can you help me with the psychology? I'm struggling, and man, and the thing is, one of the things I had learned in the corporate job was emotional intelligence. Went through that training, and it was really cool, and I had applied that to my trading as well. And so I got to working with these people, these traders, and it didn't take me long to figure out, it's like, no, you actually don't have psychological issues. You're pretty solid. You've got all the traits that it takes to be successful at this. So there's got to be something else. And there is. And so that's what we're going to talk about now. So, but to kind of illustrate this, let me take you on a little journey. And I want to do it on a graph here because like I said, it'll help you kind of get your head around what you've been through and why you're at where you're at if your trading isn't where you want it to be. So here's what we're talking about. This is the trader's journey to consistent profits. And on the left here, we have knowledge and skill. That's the vertical axis. And on the base is the time in months. So we're looking at, skill and knowledge over time. And this green line up here, this is where you need to get to for consistently profitable trading. Okay. So here's the journey. We all start off here at 0. When we first get into trading, we don't know squat. And very few of us have been in any occupation that it's like where we can step into trading and it's like, okay, we're already familiar with a lot of it. It's like, no, we're coming from other places. Like I said, project managers. I came out of manufacturing. So anyway, but we start off here at 0, and our hope is really high. Got dollar signs in our eyes. Yeah, this is going to be awesome. And we know about trading, but as far as being a trader, no, we're still at 0. So pretty quickly, we'd learn how to use the platform, kind of what's what. We learn our way around the place. We learn how to place trades. And again, our hope is still high. Our skills are still pretty slim though. Not really, heavy on the skill part yet. Well, for the next few months, we're picking up strategies and indicators and learning about risk management. We're starting to hit a little bit of overwhelm because all the information. And we're also finding out, dang, this really is not as easy as it looked like it would be at first. And it can be a little bit rough. And so we start learning more. We're going to learn more about strategies, maybe learn about back testing. We're starting to learn about trading psychology. And because it's still kind of rough, it's like we're hitting some frustration. We're still hopeful, but we're starting to feel a lot of self-doubt. And it's like the fun's kind of coming out of it here. And then this is where a lot of traders spend like a couple of years. Sometimes usually within their first year, they start on the quest, and they're just looking for that one strategy, that one something that they can count on, that they can take to the markets and have confidence in and feel secure with. So they're on this quest to find a good strategy, or a lot of times they'll go back and forth between that. We're looking for a strategy and the psychology where they're sitting there saying, oh my God, okay, I found a decent strategy, but man, I just can't seem to stick with it. What's wrong with me? So they sit there and go back and forth with this. And this takes a while because, they're still learning more, but they're not learning as much and as fast as they were earlier. And then it kind of had a point where it's like, wow, it's not, there's not really much of anything new out there. I've learned most of what there is, that's being shared in the trading psychology space, emotional control, focus on your discipline, explore your limiting beliefs, that, maybe if you got a mummy daddy issue, that kind of stuff, or, and it's first strategies. It's like you've learned about most of the major strategies. You understand how the markets work, all that kind of stuff. So there's really just not a whole lot changing from year to year. And this is where most traders kind of get stuck, is at this 80% level. And it's just they're just kind of floating around, but it's, from one year to the next, not really a whole lot going on, and they're just kind of surviving. It's not painful enough, they're not losing enough that they, they're ready to quit. Like me, I actually got lucky that I blew up my account. It forced me to take a break and do something differently. But, a lot of traders are just kind of here and they're just plodding along, and they've kind of accepted the situation. And this is really, it sucks, because this can last, again, for years. If you look at the scale here, yeah, this goes out 4 years, and it usually just kind of trucks along for a long time. Now, see, here's the thing about trading, and this is where it gets everybody. It looks simple enough. It really does. Especially, simple enough for an intelligent person to look at it and say, yeah, I get it. And the other thing is, there are basically no barriers to entry for trading. You don't have to have, any previous experience. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have a certification. You don't have to be, a particular nationality or ethnic background, or you can be, anybody can come in and trade pretty much. If you can fund an account, you can trade. And that's the whole thing. Short, tall, skinny, fat, nice person, jerk, doesn't matter. If you got money, you can trade. So there are like zero barriers to entry. There are no prerequisites. See, here's the big thing. Let's take golf, for example. I understand the game of golf. I've grown up around it. My dad he was an avid golfer. He loved to play. He had his golf clubs in his trunk, so any chance he got, he was playing. My grandfather, he was a really good golfer as well. I actually ran a pro shop at one point. I, however, am not a good golfer. And now here's the thing. I understand the game. I know all about the game. I understand how it works. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Hit it, tee shot, hit it down to fairway, keep it in the middle, get on the green, go for the 2-putt. I understand everything about the game. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. But see, here's the thing. Understanding the game and knowing what you're supposed to do doesn't make you good at it. And the thing is, with trading, this is the major leagues. Trading is professional speculation. This is not, Friday night poker with your buddies, where it's just, casual having fun. This isn't putting $20 in the football pool at the office. We're talking about professional speculation. And if you want to get to consistently profitable trading, this requires a certain level of skill, not just knowing how to trade. Just because you're able to place trades, again, that doesn't make you good at it. And the thing is, this was one of the hard lessons I had to learn, because, man, my first year, I'm sitting there thinking, damn, this is hard. I know what to do, but man, it's hard. And it was a stressful situation. It was rough. I wasn't getting good results. I sure as heck couldn't count on what I was doing. And that was the thing. And just like everybody else, it's like, yeah, I'm stuck down here. There's still something missing that's making this hard, and it really shouldn't be that tough. Okay, so what's the 20% that's missing? And it really is, here's what the markets won't teach you, and almost nobody else does. This is what you're going to learn today: how to get good at this. That's what's really cool. Trading is a skill-based thing. It's not a psychological game. You can't psych yourself into becoming a good trader. You have to develop the skills. Okay, here's why. If you think about it, again, this is professional speculation. This is a skill-based performance occupation. You have to show up at the right time and do the right thing at the right time if you're going to make money. If your timing is off, if you're not, operating with a level of proficiency, it's going to be rough. And the thing is, the 20% is how you go from able to trade to consistently profitable in a knowing manner. That's the difference. And the reason that nearly everyone stays stuck is because they're just sitting there focusing on strategy or psychology instead of, how do I really get good at this? And the thing is, if you're not bringing a true A game, markets will rough you up all day long forever. And if you just show up thinking, hey, I got a good strategy, I'm ready. That's like showing up, thinking you can buy a good set of golf clubs and immediately, show up for a PGA tournament. It doesn't work that way. And successful, consistently profitable trading requires more than just having a good strategy and sticking to it. It takes way more than simply knowing what to do. There's a range of skills beyond simply grabbing a strategy and placing trades, and you have to reach a certain level of skill to be a consistently profitable trader, regardless of the strategy. See, here's the thing: if you really want the independence that trading offers, you need to get to where you can use any strategy. If you're strategy dependent, it's like being handicapped. You're playing at a disadvantage. And the thing is, most traders learn pretty quickly. It's like how to trade. I can place trades, but the thing is, the simple appearance of trading and the big lie. Most traders have to take their beatings for 5 to 22 years to get that 20% beaten into them. That 20% that matters. They just plain have to keep beating their head on the rock for that long to figure it out as how to get good at this. Again, because trading doesn't lend itself to just being figured out. Okay, so that leads us to part 3, the how to get good at it part. And again, you simply must have a framework for this. If you don't have a framework for this, then you're flying by the seat of your pants, hoping things will just kind of happen to come together. And that's what a lot of traders are doing. And I'm not judging anybody. I did the same thing. It's like I kind of hit a point where I exhausted, knowing what to do. And it's like, I don't even know what to do anymore, but I'll just kind of keep trading. And there was like a little voice in the back of my head sitting there saying, yeah, just keep trading, things will turn around. Somehow, someday, things will magically turn around. It's like, no, they're not just going to magically, happen to come together. And this is, again, where traders lose years and endure losses and learning about themselves that just isn't necessary. What you need is a clear, proven, step-by-step framework to take a strategy, any strategy, and take it to the market knowing that it's solid and you're solid trading it. Where you have that just unshakable confidence in your strategy and yourself, you have complete clarity so that when you're looking at the charts, you know exactly what you're looking for, you know exactly when you see it, and you know exactly what to do. And you, since you're like the center of the process, you are wired for consistent execution. Not just trying to psych yourself into it, not willpower, but you're wired for it. And this is the 3-step process that I brought from the quality assurance world that in the business world has been proven all around the planet for decades. It just plain works as far as getting things under control and really working the way you want. Now, a quick note on the difference between quality control and quality assurance. Everybody's heard of quality control, and a lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but there's a huge difference. Quality control is how the world operated up until the late 70s. And around that time is when quality assurance came into being. Well, the way quality control would work was you got production over here making whatever it is, cars or jackets or whatever. But production's just bam, 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 producing, run, make, just keep going. And you have inspectors standing on the line, picking off the bad product to make sure it doesn't get out to the customer. And that's how it worked. And that's how things, ran for a long time. And that was like a global practice. Well, Deming came along and it, helped the Japanese really kick this off around the world with quality assurance. And his whole thing was, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the process and getting such a solid handle on the process that we know we're sending good product down the line. We don't have to do 100% inspection. We can just kind of check every now and then just to make sure the process is solid. And it totally transformed the automotive industry and so many other industries ever since then. And it's really cool. And that's really what made it work. That's why I was able to use it to free myself from the crappy trading that I was doing. And because this is based on quality assurance applied to trading, I call it profit assurance because that's our product in trading is profits. So I like to call it profit assurance, but really this is the same 3-step process that I use to achieve my freedom and live my life on my terms for the last 20 years. It's the same process that's given freedom and redemption is a great word and peace of mind to traders all around the world. And here's the 3-step process. These are the 3 phases, and I'm going to walk you through it right now. First thing we're going to do is establish consistency. And we're going to look at building confidence and establishing that just unshakable confidence, and then the mental conditioning that you need for the execution. And again, it's a 3-step process. Step 1 is we want to establish consistency first. So many traders, they're thinking, I can find a good strategy and I'll get profitable and then I'll figure out how to get consistent about it. Well, having a quality background and making things work in, like I said, the high volume, high speed, massive operation that I was in, the main thing I learned was, no, we got to establish consistency first. And in trading, what I've learned, and this is one of the favorite quotes I want to share with you right now, and you'll know the truth in this. You can take an average or an even mediocre strategy, and if you can execute that consistently, it will outperform and make more money than a great strategy executed inconsistently. And that's an absolute truth. And like I said, you've probably experienced it yourself. Doesn't matter if you have a great strategy, doesn't matter. If you can't execute it consistently, if you're all over the place, it's not going to make the same money as if you've got just a decent strategy. And man, you can just, just keep firing off those profits and good execution all day long. The consistent execution, the consistency is the key. And so that's why we start there. I mean, if you think about it, if you have a consistent process, that's pretty easy to dial it in for profit. It really is. But if your trading's all over the place, that's really hard to work with. And so, okay, so how do you do it? Now, I want to really illustrate something important to you here. Strategy and system are words, again, that get used, they're thrown around interchangeably in the trading world. And you got tons of purveyors out there saying, hey, just use our strategy. We got in here, we got out here, and look at all the money we made. You can do it too. Just use our strategy, and you'll get those consistent profits. And it's like the magic buzz phrase, consistent profits. But here's the thing, again, and I know this because of my quality background. A strategy and a system are not the same thing. Your strategy is how you plan to get in and out of the market and make money. Like I'm going to get into the beginning of the trend and I'll get out when it exhausts. That's my strategy. And you can have all kinds of different strategies. I'm going to straddle the market, assuming it'll stay flat, whatever, pick tops and bottoms, reversals, doesn't matter. That's your strategy. Your system is how you're going to execute that strategy over and over and over again, hundreds or even thousands of times consistently. And that's the key. And so that's where we have to start. And so the key to it is defining a highly repeatable process based on a good strategy that's easy to execute consistently. That's where we start. And the cool thing is, it wasn't too long ago, I was having a talk with a client. He's like, like how many characteristics are there though of a good, highly repeatable process? And so I started to sit down and list them out. I was really surprised. I figured there would be like 7 to 10 characteristics. There are actually 14 different characteristics for a highly repeatable process. And what I found with so many traders, what they're working with, if they even if they do have it written down, it's usually there are so many characteristics that they're lacking. There are so many functional flaws in what they're trying to work with. It's a good strategy they have, but their system really leaves a lot to be desired from being a repeatable process. And the thing is, it is huge. It is absolutely necessary that you have a good repeatable process. I mean, if you have a good strategy and it works, you want to be able to execute it again over and over and over and over and over again, right? If it's a good strategy that's going to work, you want that repeatability. And so this is why the consistency first is so critical. And one of the best things about this is the clarity that you get by knowing how to define a process. The clarity is massive. Like I said, you know exactly what you're looking for. You know when you see it. You're not getting chasing off stuff that looks maybe where you're talking yourself into a trade and all that kind of stuff. And it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, Robert, what helped him one afternoon, we went through and reworked his whole process. And he'd sent this back to me, and I was thrilled. It was cool. He says, I highly recommend Brian. His ability to help me focus and gain clarity has been instrumental in my recent trading success. And he'd been at it for a long time, and he was able to get things turned around. Okay. So once we have our process, we have a good, repeatable process. Now what do we do? Well, now we need to establish that unshakable confidence with it. And really, because the thing is, the only way you'll be able to stick to your strategy and not make regrettable mistakes in the heat of the moments, the heat of the moment, is by being in a calm state of mind that comes from having that confidence and security in your process and in yourself. And this is where so many traders run into the catch-22. It's like, yeah, I tried a strategy, and man, I can't seem to stick to it long enough to build the confidence that I need to stick to it. And so it's like, wow, how do I do this? How do I build that confidence? And the thing is, where you get that from, and again, from a quality background, is proper testing. Now, a lot of traders, they say, well, I know all about back testing, all that kind of stuff. Back testing is a waste of time. The thing is, if you don't know how to do the testing right, it's not going to work for you. And here's the whole thing, the testing, the purpose of the testing is so that you can find out how good something is before you go risking money with it, instead of learning and having to lose money along the way. And it's knowing how to do this, doing it in a proper manner so that you're actually getting a good representative, measure of how good a system is. And you do want to do it, of course, with back testing first. Let's see if it worked yesterday before we just throw real money at it today, just, lose a few more $1,000s. Like, no. And the thing is, confidence comes not from the claims of others, but through proper testing. And when you're doing it yourself and that evidence is generated by your own hands, that's the thing. It's when you know how to test it and you can take your strategy and your process, and it's like you go test it, and it's like, yeah, now I know exactly how good this is. I know exactly what to expect from it. And I don't have to hear it from anybody because I've done it myself. And that's really what makes the big deal. I mean, for Armando, he'd been struggling with FOMO and chasing trades for over 8 years. Seriously, I was amazed talking to him. It's like, dude, you're a smart guy. He's a project manager, a global logistics project manager. And I mean, what he does for his day job is amazing. I'm like, it just blows me away that you can handle that job without any emotional issues. But man, trading, it's an emotional ride for you. And it's like, yeah, this sucks. And so, in teaching him this process, he's like, for the first time in my trading career, I feel truly confident that, yeah, I can finally make a living from markets, where he's feeling settled down now. He's not chasing trades anymore, and he doesn't feel the FOMO. And so when you get the process nailed down and you get that, that confidence with it, you can prove it out, and it's like, now you know it works. The next thing we've got to do now is the mental conditioning for the consistent execution. And see, the main thing is a lot of traders, they're sitting there thinking, I must have some mommy daddy issue, or there's something wrong with me. And the thing is, the psychological stuff that you have to deal with, the real challenge is not from outside of trading because you have issues. The challenge that you have with the psychology of trading is a lot of it comes from the damage that's occurred in your trading experience. For me, my first year, I was basically practicing bad trading every day because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm, revenge trading, angry trading, chasing the markets, FOMO, fear, greed, hope, despair. All day long, I'm doing trading and I'm practicing the wrong way. And what that was doing was that was mentally conditioning me to trade that way because that's what I was practicing all the time. And so, but just like with every other trader, it's not that there's really something wrong with you. Outside of trading, you've already demonstrated that you have what it takes to be successful. It's your trading experience. Again, not because you have issues. Now, so what we have to do when we're doing this is we have to mentally condition you for consistent execution. But the first thing we've got to do is undo the damage of the past. Again, if you've been trading for 5 years and it's been rough, you've had 5 years of conditioning working against you, establishing patterns and perspectives and emotional responses that probably are not helpful for you. You know what I'm talking about? So we want to undo the damage of the past, break all the old stuff of the past, and then rewire you for consistent execution so that it becomes, so that your good trading comes naturally and habitually. And again, you're trading from a place of emotional calm. You're not having to fight your emotions because they're not rearing up at you. And the way we do this is by giving you a different experience with your trading, where you're doing things that you've done before, but you do them differently. And then you're also going to be doing things that you haven't done before. And it's really cool because, when you're doing things, that you've, yep, okay, we're done that slide. And you're doing things that you haven't done before, you're doing things differently. This is, again, how we rewire you, is through the experience. But not just, talk and thinking or mantras or affirmations, that kind of stuff. You're doing things differently. So now that wires, when you go through and experience something, that wires it into you, into your nervous system and your body. And the main thing is, you're not just taking in information. Again, you're learning by doing. This is where the real growth and transformation comes from, is because you're doing. And the cool thing is, if you just and this is why so many traders are struggling, it's because it's like they'll find a new strategy and it's like, cool, I got a new strategy, but they're the same trader with a new strategy. And the thing is, you want to become a new trader, the trader you need to be to win at this, and you really have to go through that transformation. This guy Matt, neat guy, he actually had experienced a pretty decent spell of success. He had done very well on his own trading Forex, even at one point had a Twitter following. and had gotten it to where he had paid following, and he ran it for like 6 months, and eventually wound up sabotaging himself and blew it up. And when I was talking with him, I'm like, dude, you sound like you got the skill side down. And I'm thinking, maybe I need to send you over to this hypnotherapist that I know, because maybe it is something truly subconscious with you. And he's like, yeah, well, I've thought about that, but I want to go through this process with you. And at the end of it, he was like, man, I'm glad I went through this process with you, because I didn't realize there was something I was still missing in the foundation of my trading, the training that I had to be a trader and all the stuff that I learned. I was still missing some stuff. And now these foundations that I really needed as a trader, it's night and day compared to who I was just a couple months ago. And yeah, now he's a completely different person. And so that's the thing. You need to transform as a person. So just, real quick, some of the traits, looking at, struggling traders versus winning traders. As far as, strategy, struggling traders, basically, they're just grabbing whatever sounds like, it makes money. Winning traders, they want to make sure that they're working with something that fits them. It's a good fit for them. It resonates with them. And that's why you need to have the skill set to trade any strategy. I mean, look at it this way. It's kind of, if you're wanting to do anything, you can have a special tool, or you can have the skill. And the more you lack skill, the more you're dependent on the tools. The more skill you have, the more freedom you have with the tools that you use. Okay, so with trading, yeah, the more skill you have, that opens you up to where you can trade any strategy you want. And if you're working with something that resonates with you, awesome, because now you can trade with whatever you want, and you can build a portfolio. You're not limited to just trading something. Okay, so as far as consistency, struggling traders, generally, they've got rules, and that's about as good as it gets. Otherwise, they don't really have much to work with, maybe flying by the seat of their pants. With winners, as far as consistency, like I said, they're focused on having a highly repeatable process, not just rules, but a highly repeatable process. And there's way more that goes into it than just rules. As far as confidence, they're trying to build their confidence. The struggling traders are trying to build their confidence with live trading. Winners, it's like, no, we're going to go into it with proper testing and dialing it in for profit, and so that I know this is a solid system and I know that it'll deliver. And as far as consistent execution, struggling traders, generally, it's just, if I could just figure out how to control my emotions, if I could just figure out how to be more disciplined. And it's like, no, you can't will yourself into it. Winning traders, it's like, no, I want to, I want to go through some, specific mental conditioning. I want to undo the damage of the past, and I really want to get wired for this, so that, man, I'm trained to execute well. And that's super important. And just so you know, as far as trading professionals, this guy Chris Vermeulen, he runs the Technical Traders out of Canada. He's been in the game for a long time. Super sharp guy. I got the world of respect for him. But he sent me this. He said, use this, Brian, because he actually had taken my training years ago. He says, most of us hesitate to pull the trigger on a trade setup from time to time, kicking ourselves for not following our analysis, including myself. So the good news is this profit assurance training is the most powerful trading tool that allows you to build the skills traders must have to be consistently profitable and emotionally stable when trading. So I used this course many years ago to build my asset revesting signal strategy. And like I said, he's a well-published professional trader, been doing very well for a lot of years, and he's helping a lot of people around the world. But it was this training that helped him turn things around, where getting past some of the obstacles that he was having. Okay, so I know we're running tight on time. Got to wrap up here pretty soon. I got like 5 minutes, so I may need to move quickly. But anyway, so as far as what we've covered, the big misconception is that trading is somehow just an entry-level job that just anyone can come in here and start trading and figure it out as you go. And the big lie really is that, hey, if you know how things work, and you know what you're supposed to do, that's good enough. If you got a strategy, you figure out how to do it, that's good enough. And the thing is, no, you got to learn how to be good enough. This is skill-based. Now, I didn't bring it up earlier, but what I've learned is a great way 4 words to describe most traders. And I was there for a long time, so I'm not judging you, but really, we learn enough to be dangerous to ourselves, and then we remain there indefinitely. And the thing is, we really got to get to that, certain level of skill and cover the range of skills. And so long as you're not getting up to that level of skill, it's going to be rough. And the thing is, it's also, okay, so we've also got this 3-step process: take strategy to market with confidence and execute it well. So on a couple of quick questions, did you get some good insights from the presentation today? I hope you did. Do you feel a little more clear and comfortable with how to pursue trading with confidence? And do you feel that you got good value with your time today? I certainly hope you did. Now, here's the thing. It is simple in concept, but it's nuanced in the execution and actually doing all this. And obviously in 45 minutes, I can't teach you all of this. First of all, I just kind of had to give you the context so you understand where I'm coming from with it. But I do have, again, I told you at the beginning, this is what you've got going on. I told you what you need to do. If you'd like my help so that you can get, learn this and learn how to do it faster with my help, I do have a course and training called the Profit Assurance Blueprint. And the thing is, in just 60 to 90 days, not years on a therapist's couch, you can get to where your confidence in yourself and your process and everything that you're solid going to the markets will be at an 8 or higher. You know that your strategy is solid and it will deliver, and you'll know that you're solid trading it, that your execution is right where you want it. And you go trading every day with that confidence that you've wanted all along. And so the thing is, if you follow the program and you do the exercise and implement what I share, you'll reach that point that you've wanted to do, from the beginning, because this just plain works. It's a skill set. So this is really cool. Okay, I'm gonna scooch on through some of this stuff. So the first part is establishing consistency. It's where you learn how to define your process and document it so that it's, it truly is repeatable and delivers reliably. You get the 14 characteristics and also a directional system template. As far as the second part here, where we're talking about confidence, you'll learn how to prove out your system so that you know what it works and how good it is and that it will meet your financial goals. Part of the tool for that is the profit potential calculator. And then the third part is the mental conditioning to undo the damage of the past and rewire you for that good, solid, comfortable, consistent execution. Now, if you want to get started, what you need to do is go to insideouttrading.com. That's my website, and just go to insideouttrading.com/corner. And as far as in the chat, let's see. Let me see if I can pop that in here. So it's in the chat. But seriously, this is how you make it work. This is how you get that 20% that you've been looking for all along. This is the 3-step process. You establish the consistency first, then you establish the confidence, then you condition yourself. And this is how you become the trader that can trade, consistently, profitably, and do it from a position of knowing, where, yeah, you know what you're doing. You've got the solid handle on this. You're not just somebody sitting there, who's been thrown into it, with the notion that, if I just get a good strategy and I figure out how to stick to it, it's like, no, this is how you get good at it. This is how you get to the major leagues so that, yeah, you're bringing the A game that you need to kick ass and take names. And that's what makes it a whole lot of fun and really makes all the difference in your experience as a trader. So, if like I said, if you want my help, this is the process to do it. Please don't just keep chasing strategies. Don't just, keep chasing consistency. Focus on developing yourself as a trader. And that way, you can become the trader that you've wanted to, that you're capable of, and you can become the trader that you need to be to live the life that you want with your trading and really get everything out of it. You're not going to find the magic in some strategy that somebody else has figured out and they're trying to sell you. You're not going to find it in, some mental hack or cheat, or like I said, some easy button. Invest in yourself, invest the time in yourself, get the training that you need. Like I said, if it's me or somebody else, but if this has been beneficial for you, please do something with it. Don't just sit there and keep doing what you've been doing if it hasn't been working. I really do. I hope this has been awesome. I haven't been looking at the chat or anything. I know I'm like running up on time. It's time for the next presenter. So if you have any questions, swing by insideouttrading.com. I got some free resources there. If you want to book a call with me, there's a link where you can book a call with me. We'll hop on a Zoom call. We can talk about what's going on with your trading and figure out the best path for you, to get past whatever's holding you back right now. So I hope this has been helpful for everybody. Again, I applaud you for taking time out of your day to focus on, learning and becoming a better trader. I hope this has been helpful. That is my genuine, sincere desire. And if I can help you along that path to make it all you wanted, awesome. So cool. Any questions? Throw them in the chat if you have any questions. And if not, I think it's time for the next speaker. Yeah.